Hi everyone, this is Elena and this is video number 2 for today. It's a part of the blog hop with my sweet petunia and impression obsession. This time I'm using this wonderful set, Peony set 1 from impression obsession, and it's actually a 5-layer flower and 4-layer leaves, so it goes into really great detail, and stamping with the MISTI makes it even more easier to line everything up. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just mass producing, so I'm stamping 8 flowers in case like I make a mistake or and to have for future use. So I'll be just using one, but I'm stamping several of them while I'm at it, so I have 4 quick cards for the future. So I'm using first the soft pink shadow ink from Hero Arts for my first layer. And then I'm using my heat gun to dry that ink so it's kind of dry, because sometimes when I layer, like do multi-layering, those inks, because if they're not dry, they tend to bleed into each other, and I want it more sharp image. So that's what I'm doing here. After each layer, I'm drying with my heat gun, setting that ink. Excuse me, my throat, I'm coming down with a cold or something, so I apologize for the coughing and for my voice. So the next layer, I lined that stamp up directly onto my first image, and then I picked it up with the door of the MISTI. And I'm using the bubblegum pink from Hero Arts. It's a little darker pink. So I'm going from lightest to darkest colors. So the last layer will be very dark, and it will be actually purple. So I'm stamping every layer here, and then I'm gonna go ahead and dry those flowers again. So I'm just quickly using my heat gun and drying everything, being careful to not burn myself again. If you watch my previous video, I kind of burned myself by touching the nozzle of the ink pad. So the next I'm going with ultra pink. And again, I'm doing the same trick as the previous video. I'm conditioning my stamp with Versamark ink, so I have more better coverage when I stamp those solid images. So I'm again stamping every single one of them. And then for the next layers, you will notice that I don't show you stamping all 8 layers. I just do a couple and then I move on. I cut that part out and move on to the next. So I'm again drawing everything. So, and then I'm going back with my MISTI, and this time I'm using the Sweet Gelato ink pad from W+9. That's kind of very dark pink, more like going towards red. It's one of my favorite colors actually. So I'm inking that one up, and I'm stamping. So next I'm drawing everything, and I'm gonna go back with the last layer. And for the last layer, I'll be using a Juice Box ink pad from Lawn Fawn for the darkest layer. So I'm like kind of positioning that. This was a little bit more difficult to position, and you will notice that I removed the stamp a couple times after stamping. So having those 8 images, it's kind of useful because I messed up 2, so I was left with 6 good images at the end. So it was all good. I didn't need to go back and redo all the layers. So I'm stamping with this juice box and continuing. So I removed the stamp. It didn't stamp perfectly like I wanted. So I'm positioning it again and picking it up with the lid. So let's see, now it's a little bit messed up again. So I'll redo it again, and third time is a charm. So my third time came out perfectly, so I continued to stamp with that stamp positioned onto the lid of the MISTI. So I'm going twice because it looks good and I want it a little bit darker. Now you can notice how this image got really detailed and more like kind of more realistic. So next I'm stamping the leaves. The leaves are 4 layers, and I'm going with last leaf from W+9 for the first layer. So there's my first layer, and then I dry all the images again, and then I'll go with the second layer. So I'm again putting it back in the MISTI and layering that stamp on top of the stamp image. And next I'm going with the ombre green ink pad from Hero Arts. So I'll basically repeat the same process for the rest of the leaves, and then I'll dry them again before moving on to my third layer. So there we have that. And the third layer I'll be using the forest green, which is dark green. It's a shadow ink pad from Hero Arts. So again, I'm conditioning my stamp with Versamark, and then I'm inking it up with my ink pad. So we have all that, and again, I'm drying everything before I go with the very last layer. And for the very last layer, I'll be using the charcoal brown from Gina K Designs. I really wanted something like very dark green, but it didn't have that dark green, so the charcoal brown worked perfectly. So I'm conditioning my stamp with Versamark and then inking it up with the brown and stamping. So I'll repeat with the rest. And then now I have everything, and now I just need to cut out a couple images. So I'm cutting a couple of the leaves and one of the flowers. So I'm using my scissors to do that, and then I pick out a sentiment from different set and kind of line that one up. It's kind of small, so it fits perfectly in the corner there. And then I'm using VersaFine ink to stamp that one. And then I'm using a strip of Designer Series paper, black and white stripes, and then a very thin strip of black cardstock to add a little bit interest onto my card. So I'm just running some Tombow adhesive on the back. Then I'll just separate those and adhere them onto my panel next to each other, and then just trim the ends using my scissors. Then there's some adhesive on the top, some of that Tombow adhesive, so I'm using the adhesive remover to remove that. Next, apologize again for coughing. I'm positioning where I want that flower to be and the leaves. So, and before I go adhering those, I'm adding some craft foam on the back of my card, the back of my panel. So I kind of pop that up instead of using foam tape. Next, I'm arranging the leaves and the flower, and I'll just adhere them down. And I use the Ranger Matte Multi-Medium adhesive to adhere the leaves. And then for the flower, I'm using some dimensionals. So I'm just trying to see where it's a good place to put the second set of leaves so it doesn't stick out too much from the card. So the card would fit in a normal envelope. And then I'm adhering that peony flower. And then to finish my card, I'm just adding some rhinestones to add a little bit of bling to it. So that's my card for today. Thanks for watching, and make sure you check the other designers' blogs for a chance to win some great blog candy. Thanks for watching. Bye!